Squidward. Being the sexiest man in the SpongeBob universe, he might have a secret that I'm about to expose. Have you ever wondered why Squidward hasn't mastered the clarinet yet? I mean, it's been 14 seasons and...
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So what could possibly be the reason for this? Why does Squidward suck? Squidward Tentacles is one of the main characters in the series, serving as a foil to SpongeBob's cheerful attitude. Squid is characterized by his sarcasm. He's rude, sassy, introverted, unhappy, stubborn, snobby, and miserable. But he does have somewhat of a love for the arts, especially playing the clarinet, though he is notoriously really bad at it. His technique, or at least the glaring absence of it, presents a fascinating paradox. Like, his dedication to the clarinet is actually amazing. He displays a level of commitment that rivals even the most famous musicians we know. However, the outcome of his music often sounds like a symphony of rubber ducks caught in a hurricane. How can one individual with such passion produce sounds that seem to bend the laws of musical harmony? Well, there's a theory going around TikTok. What if Squidward is actually tone deaf and that's why he's so bad at the clarinet, no matter how much he practices? Now, check this out. In the bubblestand episode, Squid was playing the clarinet beautifully in the beginning. Then he gets annoyed by Spongebob and his bubblestand, and all frustrated, he tries to show that he can blow a bubble too. He ends up screaming into the bubble wand out of frustration, and bam, creates this massive bubble that's actually impressive. But the bubble, it's so big, it lifts Squidward's entire house off the ground. Now Squid doesn't notice this, so he continues playing his clarinet, and up until this moment, he still sounds really good. It wasn't until the bubble kept going higher and higher and exploded that caused Squidward to lose his hearing. Because once Squidward came back down, this is what he sounded like. And ever since this moment, Squidward has been bad at playing the clarinet.
Huh? How are you enjoying the music so far?
Okay, but I know what you're thinking. If Squid is tone deaf, how could he still like music? If we look at these 4 episodes, starting with The Thing, Squidward looks around and notices that SpongeBob and Patrick are gone. And so the first thing he decides to do is, well, play Kelpie G. If we look at episodes like Bucket Sweet Bucket and The Flea in Her Dome, we can literally see and hear him listening to Kelpie G.
Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Just ignore them, Squidward, and continue your power walk.
And then, in Enchanted Tiki Dreams, Squidward is getting ready to leave for work. He is totally fed up with SpongeBob and Patrick because they're doing all sorts of ridiculous things, like throwing rocks on their heads, throwing mustard in their eyes, and it's driving Squidward crazy. When he finally finishes his shift, he rushes home and contemplates on what he should do to relax. One of those things is listening to Kelpie G, which is actually some really good jazz, by the way. Okay, so it's obvious Squidward does understand what good music is. But if Squid was truly tone deaf, how could this be possible? Well, when someone is described as tone deaf, it usually means they have a difficulty perceiving pitch differences in music, a condition known scientifically as Ammusia. This can make it challenging for them to sing in tune or recognize when notes are off pitch. However, this doesn't necessarily mean they can't understand or appreciate when music is good. The appreciation of music involves more than just the ability to perceive pitch. It also includes rhythm, harmony, and emotional expression, among other elements. And when we actually take a closer look at Kelpie G, he's actually a parody of Kenny G, an American saxophone player who is one of the most successful instrumental musicians of the modern day era, and one of the best-selling artists of all time. So yeah, it would definitely take a lot more than just tone deaf for someone not to appreciate this music. Okay, so if the bubble burst really made him tone deaf, how come in Christmas Who, SpongeBob discovers the concept of Christmas for the first time through Sandy, who's decking out her tree dome? Now Sandy's enthusiasm about Christmas sparks SpongeBob's curiosity, and soon he's spreading the festive spirit to everyone in Bikini Bottom. Well, except Squidward, of course. But despite his disappointment, SpongeBob gives Squidward a present he made himself, a handcrafted driftwood clarinet. Feeling guilty, Squid decides to dress up as Santa to cheer SpongeBob up, leading to a series of heartwarming moments. And in the end, he can be seen walking back inside of his house, and this happens. Then, in That's No Lady, Patrick gets all spooked because there's this guy with a briefcase that tells him, "Get out of town!" He bolts and tells SpongeBob he has to hit the road because he thinks this guy with a briefcase is out to get him. But then he comes up with a brilliant plan to transform into Patricia, thanks to a blonde wig and green bikini. This is when he walks into the Krusty Krab as Patricia, and Squidward actually manages to play a nice tune to woo her over. Then, in Hello Bikini Bottom, Squidward decides to play his clarinet outside of his window, but it's not that good at first. And just as he's getting into it, Spongebob joins in with his ukulele. Now Squidward gets mad, but it's almost like he likes it and it's encouraging him to play better. And I guess he actually did, because after that, a manager offered him and Spongebob a job. So yeah, it does seem that he's capable of playing the clarinet very well by just providing a full effort. Now the reason why I say this is because I came across a company called Octolab that investigated how octopus react to different kinds of music. Arnold the octopus and Lisa were placed in separate tanks with a speaker between them, and their reactions to a variety of music were observed. Now the findings suggest that not all music elicited a reaction from Arnold and Lisa, but they did show the most response to music that was either classical, had atmospheric qualities, or featured a strong bass line. The experiment did note that Arnold actively tried to find the source of the sound when exposed to music with a comforting beat. Like, this literally shows you how different octopus indicate an emotional engagement with certain types of music. So no matter how tone deaf he is, Squid's good performances could thus be influenced by his emotional state or connection to the music he's playing. For instance, in the episodes I listed where Squidward actually plays beautifully, these might just be moments where he feels genuinely connected to the music, its emotional tone, or the overall context in which he's playing. But as I watched a dozen of these episodes, I came across a major problem. In this episode specifically, Spongebob and Patrick head over to this medieval stadium to catch a jousting match, right? But they end up being the ones jousting themselves. They get catapulted into the air and somehow land smack in the middle of 12th century Bikini Bottom. After getting mistaken for evil sorcerers, they're thrown into a dungeon, and that's where they meet this character, Squidly, Squidward's medieval ancestor, who is also trying but failing miserably to play the clarinet. But here's where it gets interesting. Squidly is super frustrated with his lack of musical skills, so he just throws out this curse, saying if he can't get it right, his descendants 7 generations ahead should bear the curse tenfold. And guess who that's likely aimed at? Our modern day Squidward. But here's the thing, this curse didn't just come up in his adult life. When we take a look at Lost and Found, Spongebob hears a kid crying over a lost teddy fish, prompting Mr. Krabs to send him on a mission into the Krusty Krab's Lost and Found to retrieve it. While searching, Squid stumbles upon a box of kazoos, reminding him of his childhood love for the instrument, though we quickly learn everyone hated his kazoo playing. But even when he transitioned to the clarinet, he was still not good. In the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run, SpongeBob and his friends are sharing their memories, the impact SpongeBob had on their lives, and reflecting on their past experiences and value of their friendships. Now Squid reflects on the times they were young at Camp Coral. He explains that back then, he wanted to win the annual Camp Coral talent show more than anything. And when SpongeBob and Patrick's acts steal the crowd, Squidward runs crying to his cabin. And I mean, of course, his performance was terrible. So yeah, it does seem like his lack of talent actually seems to go back to when he was a kid, because the bubble incident didn't happen until way into his adult life. This being said, no, Squidward did not become tone deaf because of the bubble. I don't think he's tone deaf at all. The way the writers made Squidward's musical drive is way bigger than just a simple plot device. The involvement with Squidly's curse, the emotional connection Squidward has with music, and his actual rare good performances really show the complexity of his relationship with the clarinet. Like, he is super dedicated to that thing. He even once said,
No thanks. I'm just doing this until my clarinet career takes off.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyways, with all that being said, I actually really hope that if the show ever does end, that Squidward could just break his curse and finally get his big moment. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this TikTok Squidward death theory valid?